Today is December the 8th, 2015. My name is Tanya Finchum, along with Alex Bishop. We're with Oklahoma State University, and today we are in Shawnee, Oklahoma, to speak with Emma Shelton, and this is part of our Oklahoma 100-Year Life project. So thank you for talking with us today. Now, let's begin with having you tell us when and where you were born.
I was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And what else?
When?
When? I was... I'm 101 now.
So 1914?
Yes. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And what month?
14. 11th
November?
of October.
14th of October. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the 11th? I'm getting confused. October the what?
October the 11th.
11th of 1914.
1914.
All right, we got it. Were you born at home?
Yes.
On a farm?
Yes.
And what did your parents raise?
Oh, they'd raise cotton and feed for the cows and stuff like that. And I was in the big middle of it when I got older. I had to help do that.
Meaning you had to milk cows?
Mm-hmm.
What, did you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I had brothers, 5 brothers, I guess. 5 sisters, 1 sister. I mean, 1 sister and 5 brothers.
So 7 of you. So the boys had to help too, I bet.
Well, when they got old enough to get out and work, you know, that they helped work for themselves, and I had to help my dad.
So where were you in the birth order? Were you the baby or the oldest, or?
I had a brother, baby brother.
So 4 boys, then you.
And my brother.
And then a sister somewhere in the mix.
Yeah, she was last, I guess.
So you had to help your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Did you raise chickens?
Yes, my mother did.
Did you?
She raised a bunch of chickens for the park and hatchery. They taken the eggs.
She helped supplement the farming.
Yes.
Can you describe the house that you grew up in?
Well, I think we had, I'll just tell you the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Or 4 rooms, I guess. 4 rooms.
Was it 2 stories or 1?
Not 1.
Did it have running water?
Not for a long time.
Had a well?
Yeah.
Had a well. So you had to pump?
Pump.
Well, how would she do her laundry, your mother?
The washboard.
Rough on the knuckles.
Yeah.
Did you have to help her do that?
Well, not too much. I was always out with my dad working.
And she would do the cooking?
Yes. Yes.
What was something that she fixed that you really liked?
Oh, my German food. Dumplings. Chicken and dumplings. Yeah, and she made light bread. She got light bread every day.
Made the house smell good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, did they speak German?
Yes, they did. did too.
Can you still say a few things?
Not too many, because when the boys married, you know, we had to kind of hold that down because we couldn't talk German in front of them, because they couldn't talk, the girls that they married.
Mhm.
So we kind of forgot a lot of the words.
Your parents, did they come to Oklahoma from Germany? Or,
What brought them to Oklahoma?
Yeah, my dad, he was a shoe cobbler, and he had a cousin here, and he wanted him to come and help him make shoes. So he came, and then he sent Mama, you know, after I think he was. He sent for Mama then. She came. The whole bunch of them came on ship.
Well, where did they come into? New York or
Oh,
Galveston?
my dad, he came to Shawnee. And then I guess they just Earlsboro and around, you know.
Well, when they landed in America, what was the port that they came through? Do you
I
know?
don't know where they exactly I reported to. I don't know where they did.
But once they got here, they stayed.
and what was their name?
Their name,
Hmm.
my mother was Dulajo, and my daddy was Mickish. Is that what you want to know?
Mickish.
Mickish.
Spell it. How do you spell that?
Mikish.
That was his last name?
Mm-hmm.
So your maiden name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to know my name?
No, your maiden name was that.
And I can't spell my mother's name. It's in German.
It sounds pretty.
You know, Alex, out of wedlock. Tell them about your sister. That was the reason why. I mean, what happened to your mom when she got pregnant?
My mom, she came across because her husband was here, you know, and so she had a baby over there when she got pregnant, and her parents wouldn't let her stay over there, so they sent her where he was, where Daddy was, and I don't know what else about her.
What was her name? Oh, your mother's name. You've already said that.
Sisters.
Yes, your sister.
I used to take a stab at it, but I can't anymore.
So it was the sister that came over?
She was two. Aunt Annie was older than you.
Yeah.
So she was the first. So it's a female, then 4 boys, and then you, and then another boy?
3. You know what? I get them all confused. You had Annie, and then was it Adolf?
Frank and Adolf.
Yeah. Adolf was older,
Yeah.
and then you,
Me.
and then Ernie, who was younger.
Ernie was the baby.
And there was some that were stillborns. How many were stillborn? 1 or 2?
2. After she got here, she got pregnant again and had a little boy, and he was dead. she had a rough life.
Sounds like it.
She couldn't stay with her mother, so they sent her off.
Well, how long were your parents married before one of them passed away? 50-something years or longer?
About, well, what they did when they came across, and Mama had that baby, you know, and then they went out in the woods and saw wood, and I forgot what you asked me.
How long they were married before one of them passed away?
Oh, now, in the later years,
Mm-hmm.
my mother passed, no, my daddy passed away first,
They were in their
and then
80s.
my mother.
And how old were they?
In 90, I think my daddy was not 89, and my mother was 98, I think.
Well, there's some longevity there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the first one to make it to 100?
In our family.
Did you ever think you would?
No.
When you got to be 99, you thought, oh, one more year?
Yeah. Yeah. They all had, when I got 90, they started my birthdays. And it's from there on.
Each one got a little bit bigger, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, what about your education? Where did you go to school as a
I
child?
went to school, Rock Creek, South Rock Creek. I was eight. What am I trying to say?
8th grade.
8th
They
grade.
went to 8 over there, no high school. And that's as far as I went, to the 8th grade.
How would you get there from your house?
Walked. Yeah, there's a bunch of us. We'd have to walk 2.5 miles
One way?
one way.
Wow. You were in pretty good shape then.
And I had to keep up with the boys, well, my brothers. They walk so fast, you know, and I'd have to holler at one of them, said, well, stop and tie my shoes or something like that. And my brother would stop and tie my shoes, and then they'd take off again. So,
Did you have a favorite subject?
no. I know math was hard for me because we had to stay at home and work in the field 2 weeks at a time.
Well, what would you take for your lunch?
Biscuits and jelly and butter, you know, and biscuits.
And
And I
what?
had a little round tin bucket that the folks would buy K-roll in it, you know, and we'd pack our lunch in them little buckets.
That's what I was going to ask, so you beat me to it. Well, how often would you get a new pair of shoes?
What do I?
How often would you get a new pair of shoes?
Oh, not very often because my dad would patch them, you know. He'd patch them, put new soles on them, and
And would your mother make your clothes?
yes.
She sewed.
But I wore overalls more than anything.
Helping your dad. Well, did you have to plow?
I plowed with the tractor or the horses, whichever Dad didn't want to do. Well, I would do it, and he'd have to plow with 4 horses to pull a big disc or whatever they are, you know. And I would drive the tractor. Oh, we had a team.
You're a petite lady. I can't imagine you working the 4 horses.
Yeah. And we'd cut hay, you know, and my dad would rake it up where we could haul it in, and him and Mama would haul the hay in on a hay rack, a big wagon, and Mama was up on top of it, stacking the hay, and my daddy would throw the hay up on the wagon. And when they went back to the house, Mama was sitting up there. My dad said, "Get up to the horses." So they started up, and Mama, she toppled off on the ground, and broke both arms. And we had a time, I'll tell you.
Wow. Did the doctor make a house call to fix them?
Yes, and our house call doctor was Dr. Marshall. He lived about 1.5 miles from us. And he taken care of her. It took her a long time to get well.
She wouldn't be able to cook with
No,
or
nothing.
wash clothes or anything.
Who took up that responsibility?
Yes, me and my sister-in-law, we did the work. And then I had to go to the field and work till dark. Come in and take care of Mom. So I can say that we had a rough life.
You worked from sunup to sunset. Well, after the 8th grade, what did you do?
I just went home and helped my daddy.
Until you got married, or what?
Well, yeah, I got married when I was 21, I think.
And how did you meet your husband?
I met him at church. I didn't go too much, but that's where I met him. And he was from Asher. And
What was his name?
Emma Shelton.
That's an interesting first name too.
Grestol.
I don't know that I've ever heard that.
Well,
And what would you do for dates?
well, that was my dad had an old car, and we'd drive it around a little bit, you know, it wasn't too good. And then he had a little car, a sport car. So that's what, we didn't get to go much because we worked.
Well, did Shawnee have a movie theater?
Yeah,
So you might go.
we never did get to go.
Oh, what did he do for a living?
Well, when he got old enough to work in the oil field, he was a pumper for the wells when they come in. And we had 3 of them that came in on our place, but they didn't last long.
Well, would you have to move around a lot for that type of work?
No, he just had those 3 wells to pump the oil out, you know, he'd just stay there and do that.
Well, how many children did the 2 of you have?
The 2, Judy and Roy.
Boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl.
So if you were working all this time with your father, what would you do for fun?
We didn't have much fun.
Not even a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I don't even remember of any fun that we had.
What types of games would you play as a child?
We sat and listened to the radio. That's what we did. We'd always wait for the Grand Ole Opry to come on. Really, we didn't have much fun, you know, that way.
Go swimming? The farm didn't have a pond?
No. And if it did, it had slush in it from the slush pit. We couldn't do that.
Well, if you listened to music, did you play an instrument?
No,
No.
none of us, I don't guess, did.
Sing?
We didn't have any. We couldn't play music.
They can sing too.
Didn't Pa play the guitar?
Huh?
Didn't Pa play the guitar? No? Oh, okay.
If you listened to the Grand Ole Opry, who was your favorite performer?
Yeah. Oh, who was it? Who was it? I can't think of it. Oh.
I can't think that far back either. I don't think that was Lester Flatt, and that was later. Earl Scruggs and Lester Flatt. Roy Clark. That was before. I mean, later. Would you have dances?
Oh, when I got home, that was one thing that we did do. When I was older, when I met my husband, we went to dances. They'd have them in their homes, you know, people would, and we'd go every Saturday night to dance.
Square dancing or folk dancing or
Just square dance.
cutting a rug, as they say. Huh? Well, did any of your brothers go to the war?
No,
None of them were in World War II?
no.
Do you have any memories of the Great Depression, the Depression days?
I don't guess. When would they start?
The 1930?
It would have been 15 or 16, about that time period. Rationing and
Oh, yeah. That's one thing, when we had to ration food stamps, that was heartbreaking. And we lived about a half a mile from our mailbox. And we'd walk to the mailbox to get our paper. And they'd be And I went with my mother, and she'd read a letter from her mother and daddy from the old country, and she would read it to me going home from the mailbox. And bless her heart, she just cried. Makes me that way yet. But she missed her. And, there's a lot of things, I guess.
Well, it was good that they still communicated,
Yeah,
even though she shipped her across
I know.
the ocean.
They regretted it though, later, really.
Well, did they ever come to visit?
No, they never did come, and Mom and them never did go back either.
So it was just by letter? Did they talk on the phone?
No, there wasn't no phone.
That's true. That's true. So thank goodness for letters.
Yeah,
The Postal Service.
they wrote letters, and they had the produced handwriting in German.
Mm.
I've still got some somewhere, I don't know where at, but
Well, how important was church? Did you go to church as a child, or?
no, I didn't get to go to church till I was a little older, and then it's when we walked a lot to church. There's about 20 of us that would walk from church to where I live.
Would the service be in German?
No,
You walked to church, did you ever meet anybody on the road, or pass anybody, or stop, or?
no, it's just a narrow road then, and we just all was together, and a lot of them, we left off at the corner, they went to the next route, we went on ours. I don't know, it's just a bunch of crazy kids.
And you said last time I was here that that happened one time and you met Pretty Boy Floyd, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend, two girlfriends across the road from where I lived, and we all walked to church. When we got to church, well, we went in, and then pretty soon somebody knocked on the window where we were sitting, and it was Pretty Boy Floyd. And I said, Jack, they're knocking on the window for you. I think she was giving my eye, that she liked to sing. So when the church was over, well, we went out, and that guy had a beautiful car. I don't know what kind it was. But anyway, he was parked out at the side of the road. And then whenever Jack came out, well, she said, where'd he go? I said, well, there he is, right over there. And so she said, she went over and talked to him, and her brother told her not to do that. Don't do that. You're not going anywhere with him. He wanted to go get a Coke. And I had a hold of her hand, and I said, Jack, don't you go. So she didn't go, but he finally left. and he went over on Highway 3. There's a store over there, and he got away from him, and he got up on top of the store, but they don't know what he did with the car, or we didn't know. And they somebody at church called the law and told them who he was and where he went. So they had quite a hunt that night. And I still don't know where they caught him, but they got him. But that was a scary night. He was going to make her go with him, and
Well, how did you know it was him?
well, we just know by his picture, and we seen him in person, and that's how we saw him.
Where had you seen his picture?
Huh?
Where had you seen his picture?
Well, whenever he got away, before they come out here, well, they had pictures all over everywhere. And then when he looked in the window, well, she recognized him right away.
And her name was Jack, short for Jacqueline, or?
Jacqueline.
Was he as pretty as his name describes?
Well, he's pretty nice looking. But they say he was really a good guy. He helped his parents and his brother with money and stuff, that he stole.
Well, when you got married, did you get married in the church or at the house, or Justice of the
We
Peace?
got married at a house. My husband, he said, well, I couldn't get a preacher, and our preacher was gone. So he said, I chased a preacher down on the highway, Fairview preacher, and asked him if he'd marry us. So we went to his house and got married. Dr. Fisher.
Did you have a special dress?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a blue dress.
And did you have a honeymoon?
No. Who didn't know what honeymoons were?
Well, did you work after you got married?
Yeah. Yes, when we got married, well, I went to town and kept babies for a lady. She had 4 babies, and I kept house for her until I got so lonesome to be home. I told my dad to come get me. I'm through. So, and then, of course, I come home and started working again in the field. And forgot what I was trying to say.
Well, after you got married, you came back and worked for your dad for a while?
Yeah, and, and then me and my husband, we started a dairy. We bought cows and We had a big dairy. And that's where I spent the rest of my time.
You have to milk by hand?
No,
No.
we had milkers. And we milked about 60 cows. And, oh my gosh, that was awful. And then
How many times a day would you have to milk?
once, twice, sorry, morning and night. And, whenever night came, well, everybody was so exhausted. And my husband said, you know, I'm kind of getting tired of this. And he didn't feel good. And I lost him at cancer. And we had to sell the cows. And that was kind of sad.
What'd you do with all that milk?
They'd take the tanks and pick them out, the trucks. They'd come to the house. We had a big tank, and it'd stay cold, keep the milk cold for 2 days, and then the truck come and got the milk, and I just went on and on.
Would you make homemade ice cream? No. Cottage cheese?
Mm.
No.
And till this day, I don't like milk. I can eat it on cereal and stuff, but I can't drink one.
Huh.
One glass of milk.
You have to get your calcium some way.
Too many cows.
Too many cows.
Well, after you milked all those cows, you had to go in and fix dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So your day wasn't over for a long time.
No.
Well, do you remember your first washing machine?
Yes, I remember my husband bought my old Maytag, and we kept it outside and we had a little wash house, and we kept it in there, and I did my washing there.
And hang it on the line? Or did you have a dryer? Well, probably not a dryer. Hang it on the line.
Hang on the line. And when one day that I was out washing and something went wrong with the Maytag, and I got under it to try to see what was the matter with it. It wasn't getting any gas, and my husband come home from the field, and he come running out, Mama, where you at? He couldn't find me anywhere, and I was laying under the washer. He thought I was dead, 'cause he hadn't seen me. Oh, boy, I laughed about that, but it did scare him. He thought I was sprawled out there dead.
Well, did you figure out how to fix it?
No, he made me get up.
Did you have a big garden?
We did have, when he was able to work it, we had the garden and the cows.
Would the extension workers, county agents come out to the farm?
when we had when we was milking, there was we had people come out and check us.
Well, did you have time to be a member of a homemaker club?
No,
Didn't think so, but I'd ask. Well, did you sew? Did you learn how to sew and sew?
yeah, I sewed more before I got married than I did now. Then.
Make clothes for your daughter?
Yeah, and shirts for my boy.
And would you make quilts?
I had 7 quilts when I got married that I made by just sitting around at night, you know, and making patches.
Do you still have them?
No, they're wore out.
Not even one. Oh. Well, when you had your children, did you have them at home or in hospital?
At home.
You had them at home.
Well, I had Judy in the hospital with a daughter.
A lot of things have changed in 100 years, haven't they? What do you think's been the biggest change?
Me. I think so.
You can laugh about it, that's a good thing. Have you kept up with technology a little bit? Use a computer,
No.
cell phone?
When the TV goes haywire, I might as well just turn it off.
I'm kind of right there with you.
But I've got a daughter-in-law that she's got certain things that she can do on a TV, and she can get it to working, but I couldn't.
How about grandchildren? Did you ever take care of your grandchildren, or?
Well, yes, I have. I've taken care of them, and I don't know how many I've got. I'd hate to start in. How many grandkids have I got?
We counted this up and now I forgot. But you have a great-great-grandchild, don't you? You have I think you have a great-great. Yeah, you have at least one great-great.
I don't hear you.
Well, you have at least one great-great-grandchild.
Yeah, Emmy.
No, she's your great-grandchild. I'll figure it out.
Well,
Just a lot.
Do you ever have to take care of them when they're babies?
no, not anymore. I did when the kids were little.
Roy's kids.
Huh?
Roy's kids.
Yeah.
Well, after you sold the dairy farm more or less, got rid of the cattle, what'd you do? Did you work anywhere or do any type of work?
No, I just stayed home.
You worked at Kmart. You worked at preschool.
Yeah, I worked at Kmart.
What'd you do at Kmart?
Brought the carts in.
You were the door greeter.
Huh?
You were the door greeter.
Yeah.
Greet people?
Yeah. Oh, they were interesting. People were interesting. They were so nice. just wouldn't know, well, you're right in the middle of it, how nice some people are, you know. Talk to you.
Good to see all walks of life come through the door.
Did you work until you turned 65?
No, I was, I don't know how old I was.
When you quit the preschool, you were 88 or 89.
88 or 89? Taking care of little ones at preschool. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Was that in Shawnee? Primary school?
yes,
It's down the road.
yep.
Sounds like work was your middle name.
And I didn't have one. And they didn't name me middle name.
It's just Emma.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now I've got a little great granddaughter that called me Emma K. Emma K.
That's her name. And you have another one too, I think, that's named someone.
Yeah, in California.
Mhm.
Did you and your husband ever travel?
Yes, we traveled with the Milk Association. We went to Chicago. Whole trail, plane full. It was a bunch of us.
Milk everywhere, huh?
Did you ever take a vacation?
No. Yeah, we went to somewhere.
Chicago.
I said we went to Chicago.
Well, I understand when you turned 99, you did something special.
What's that?
Went to see someone in concert.
Oh. Do you like him?
A little bit. We should say who him is.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Blake Shelton. Any relation since your last name's Shelton?
Yes, they say that he is. But he lived in Ada too. He was born in Ada. And all of my husband's people live in Ada. So he's out of one of them.
Well, did you get to meet him?
No, they wouldn't let me down to go. I got, about a section up from him when he was singing.
Put on a good show, does he? Which one of his songs do you like the
Oh
best?
gosh, I don't know.
All of them, huh?
Because they're kind of not like we sing anymore.
That's true.
You know.
He just has a nice voice. He has a nice voice.
Yeah.
Did you go on that trip with family to that
Yeah.
concert?
Judy and Melissa and
Melanie.
yeah, Melanie.
It was a girls' night out.
Girls' night out, yeah.
They first told me, we couldn't see him. I don't know what they told me, a big fib.
Mm-hmm.
They told me, well, we just go to this, another show up here.
Aquarium. Mm-hmm.
Well, they turned into where he was. See there? See there? I told you. Oh, gosh.
Well, that was for your 99th. How did they celebrate your 100th?
100? At church. Yeah.
I think all your kids were there and grandkids.
But Blake wasn't there.
No.
Blake wasn't there, but you know, he got a divorce. He got a divorce. Maybe we better take care of that. I think she likes him.
Well, Grandma, you have 5 grandchildren, 11 great-grandchildren, and at least 7 great-greats.
You got it all counted up.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long list.
Pretty good legacy.
Well, what do you do at your age, 101? What do you do during the day? Well, tell us a little bit about what time you get up, some of the things you do during the day, and when you go to bed.
Well, I go to bed at 6 o'clock. Really, no, I go to bed early. Now, when did you
Do you get up early?
7 o'clock, 7 or 8 sometimes. And you asked me something else.
Well, what do you do during the day? What's a typical day like for you?
Oh, I just, when I can get outside, I just walk around the farm there and sit and watch TV. It gets kind of monotonous, you know, but I get it worked out.
And you still live on your own?
I cook, do everything. My bank, I still do that.
Do you drive?
If I had a car, he took the car away from me. The doctor did. Because I had a mini stroke in, what year was that?
Well, you were 97.
97.
You were 97.
So he thought I better not drive anymore.
Well, the farm that you have, was it the one your parents' farm, or?
Some of it, not all of it.
Well, it's been in the family a long time then.
Yeah,
You still live there?
by myself.
And it has water and electricity now, doesn't it?
Yes. I do.
Do you read much?
No, since my eyes got bad, I can't read hardly anything. I may read a little while and then my eyes hurt. I have to quit.
Well, when that wasn't the case, did you read much?
Yeah, I did. Not too much, but I'd read some.
And-
This eye is already gone. I just have, it's hard.
Well, is there a dish that your children and grandchildren beg you to make?
A dish.
Specialty of yours?
I think they like anything.
I think what she means is what type of pie.
They like pies that I make at Christmas time. A coconut and a chocolate. And they want that again now.
Are you gonna make it?
I hope I hold out.
You make your own crust?
No. I quit that a few years back.
What's the secret to a good crust?
This one I buy them. I'm bound.
But when you made it, you used to make them. What's the secret to a good crust?
Lord, Lord, flour and water.
Tell them what you call the
Huh?
meringue. Tell them what you call the white stuff. The white stuff on
Oh, what?
on the pie.
Meringue,
Well, what do you call it?
meringue,
No, what do you call it? You used to have a name for it.
calf slaughter.
That's what my mother called it too.
Did she?
She didn't like it.
Cat slobber.
Calf.
Calf.
Calf
Calf.
slobber. Calf slobber.
Having milked a lot of cows, you would be able to know that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, do you have any advice for someone that wants to live 100 years or longer?
Oh, gosh. Just live, be happy. Love your people. And there's a lot of things, you know, you could do to make people happy. I forgot them.
Well, how old were you when you lost your husband?
He was, I think he was, what did I say?
Well, like when you
19 years ago, I think.
when you when you got rid of the dairy farm, it was
Yeah, we got, I think when he was when we were 60, that we sold the cows.
okay.
And then I had to sell most of them.
You were 75.
Huh?
You were 75 when you sold the cows. And you
Work-
were
work.
84 when you lost him.
And he was 84.
You were. You were 84.
You were.
So you had dairy up until you were 75? You didn't know when to quit?
It's hard.
No. But he got sick
Wow.
and he had to. And too, whenever we was milking, you know, had the ice would get all over the ground, and I'd have to go out and get the cows and bring them down to the barn where he can turn them in. And I'd fall, I broke my leg, broke my ankle at different times. Well, I had it.
You broke your arm, I'm going to say, when you were 70
My arm,
because a cow kicked you.
all because of them cows.
It's tough work. Dairy farming is very hard. Very
It
hard work.
is.
Grandma, do you remember the time when Paul was in the hospital and it was me and Judy, and you had a cow or a calf in the pasture, and you and me hoisted that calf up into the truck? You remember that? Just me and you.
Yeah.
You were 83 probably.
Oh, amazing.
A lot of times we'd find them calves up in the field, and I remember one time, it's wonder it didn't get me, but me and my husband went up in the field, and there was that little baby calf. And they get crazy when they see their baby, you know. And I went in the back, and I said, well, you stay on the tractor, I'll take care of this one. And I tried to lift that calf up on a wagon, and that cow jumped out, and she started to get me. Oh boy, that scared me. 'Cause they are so mean when they're that way. We had a lot of things, wonder we didn't get killed.
A lot of close calls. Did the dairy have a name?
Just Shelton Dairy.
Have its own bottles and stuff?
No, we didn't bottle it, we
You sent
sold
it out? Yeah. What, did you have chickens at that time too?
No, not at that time, because Mama, she did that, you know, and she couldn't take care of all of them, and us, well, we had to do the cows.
You had chickens though when you were older. You had chickens when you were older.
When you had your children, did you have chickens too?
Yep.
Would you kill them or someone, would your husband
Did I want?
kill them or did your husband?
No, I killed them.
You did? You have a method?
I had a big round stump, you know, and I'd take, he'd catch chicken for me, and I had a hatchet. I'd lay that chicken down her head, I'd kill her. That's how. And I did have, I could wring their necks and kill them that way.
Just had to do what you had to do, didn't you?
Yeah.
Would you fry your chicken or would you bake it?
Fry them.
Fried. And would you sell the eggs? Would you sell eggs?
Parkins Hatchery in Shawnee.
Did you get your overalls from Shawnee? There's a company.
Yes, Roundhouse.
Roundhouse, that's what I couldn't think of the name. Roundhouse. It's still in business, I think, isn't it? I think it is.
No, is it me?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite popular through here in all Oklahoma.
Roundhouse overalls.
I figured you'd have to own a pair of those.
Oh, yeah, my dad kept me in overalls.
Did he have a nickname for you?
Tomboy. And I didn't tell you about him getting sick, did I?
Mm-hmm.
He had appendicitis, and me and my husband I was out in the field, and I had to go get my husband to take him to the doctor. Mama, she didn't drive, and so he took him to the hospital, and they said, well, he won't come home because he's going to have surgery. Well, we went on home, and whenever it got time to, I think we had to pick cotton or something like that. I don't know. And he said, now, Mama, you take care of yourself out there. Don't get hurt. No, he was worried about me. And I said, well, you'll be okay. And whenever he meets somebody after he got home, after he'd meet somebody, they'd say, well, Frank, how'd you get along? What'd you do about your cotton? Oh, my tomboy took care of it. So that made me feel good.
So you had to pick some cotton. Where would you take it to the,
We'd put it on a wagon, and there'd be a gin there in town somewhere. But I think it burnt
in Shawnee?
later.
In Shawnee? Well, did it have an ice plant, Shawnee?
Well, when history is written, what would you like it to say about you? How do you want to be remembered?
Well, you know how I want to be remembered. Good. I don't know if I'm faithful or not. I don't know.
As her daddy's tomboy.
Huh?
As your daddy's tomboy.
Yeah.
Hard worker.
Oh, that's for sure. I guess that could be a lot of it. Hard work. Yeah.
Does it pay off in the end?
Huh?
Does it pay off in the end?
Yeah. It pays off. See?
Well, one question we haven't asked you is, what's your secret to longevity? What's your secret to living so long?
Well, I guess it's hard. Because I wanted to live. I guess.
Hard work.
What makes you, that's kind of interesting, what makes you want to live?
All my people, my family, do all I can do for my family. Is that what you want to know? I have good family, they're all they all know one another.
And you're still hoping to meet that one person, right?
If you don't beat me to it.
I'll let you in. How's that? Anything else you want to add before we close off?
No, I think I mumbled enough.
I think you've been great. You're a good role model for a lot of us. So thank you for sharing your stories with us today.
Thank you.